Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Faisel Syed,
And I'm Dr. Dan McCarter.
and you're listening to Faisel Friends, where we believe access to primary care is a right, not a privilege.
Today, we're talking to Dr. Sue Schayes, ChenMed's Chief Transformation Officer, about Trailblazing Transformative Care. Let's dive right in.
Hello, Dr. Dan. Hello, Dr. Sue Schayes.
Hello, how are you, Faisel?
I'm doing great.
It's great to see you. Hey, Dan, how are you?
It's good to be with you, Sue.
Well, thanks so much. I'm excited to spend some time with both of you and really be able to talk about some amazing things that are going on.
I know, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got to talk about some very new things and then some even less new things. I mean, it's all new things. With Dr. Sue Schayes, it's always something new going on. And I'm just excited to have you on. But before we get into talking about all the exciting things going on in your life right now, and really for healthcare as a whole, I want to hear your story. Why did you become a doctor?
That's a great question. When I hear that question, I sort of reflect on meaning and purpose in my life and also having a sense of belonging. And I think medicine has really allowed me to be a servant leader and to serve others and make that big difference. And I've always known I wanted to be a doctor. I was 5 years old and knew I wanted to be a doctor. And it's been just an amazing journey. You know, medicine has allowed me to be able to pour into my patients, to be able to pour into my colleagues, to be able to pour into medical students and residents and faculty, and be able to help others be able to get their personal professional goals met, whether it's my patient or whether it's one of my colleagues. And I think for me, that's been the most rewarding part of being a physician and being a doctor, and why I really went into medicine was to pour into others and be a servant leader.
Wow. So you were very young when you had that. I have one of my kids was like that too, 5 or 6 years old with the doctor kit, always walking around with the doctor kit and the toy syringes and the toy stethoscope. Was that you as a child?
No, but at one point I remember getting a Fisher-Price kit, a doctor's Fisher-Price kit for Christmas or a birthday. And that was the only time I ever had anything that was, like a doctor to be able to play with. And, my daughter, when she was 5 years old, she said to me, Mom, she said, can boys be doctors? And I said, yes, Janelle, some of them are smart enough. And so she hadn't met a male doctor at that point. And because all my colleagues and friends that she'd met so far when she was 5 were women in medicine. And so I did introduce her to some of my male colleagues and some of my other colleagues. And so I do have male colleagues like you that are doctors, and I have great women colleagues and others in other communities as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's awesome. And you pursued family medicine.
I did.
Why family medicine? What drew you to family medicine?
Oh my gosh. Well, as a medical student, I do a rotation, and I was really, really good at this rotation. And the people in the rotation would say, oh, you did great at peds. You should be a pediatrician. I'd like, oh yeah, I love peds. Then I do the next rotation. Oh, it's internal medicine. And, it's cardiology and nephrology and pulmonary and all the ologies. And, oh, I love it. Oh, it's really great. Oh, you're really good at this. You should do internal medicine. I'm like, oh yeah, I love internal medicine. And then I do the next rotation. Oh, psychiatry. Oh, you're really great with people and relationships and really getting to the bread of what's going on. And you should think about psychiatry. Oh, I love psychiatry. It's really, really great. And I loved all the rotations, and I did really great at all the rotations. So I said to myself, I love all of it. I want to be a family physician so I can do all of these different things. And I love doing procedures, and I love, developing that really meaningful longitudinal relationship, getting to know my patients as people, and, having that conversation and knowing what their favorite book is, and knowing what movie they just went to, and knowing the names of their grandchildren. And knowing that they lost $500 or won $500 with their church group on a trip to Biloxi, Mississippi. So, I just found it was just so rewarding having all that medical knowledge and all that information. And then as a family physician, being able to put it together, and I just felt family medicine was absolutely where I needed to be.
Yeah, it's the same. It's funny when you're speaking, I feel like I'm hearing so many people who've gone through medical school and going through the rotations and really enjoying so many of them. And then when you choose family medicine, the ability that you have because of the relationships to really get to know the person, When we see our patient, even if the patient's main problem is, pick any chronic congestive heart failure, in our minds, we don't think, oh, here comes Mr. Congestive Heart Failure. Here comes Mr. So and so. Their name. It's not just whatever their conditions are, which oftentimes you end up seeing even when you're doing your clinical rotations. Oh, we got next one over here is a COPD. This next one here is a CHF. I never felt that way with family medicine. It was always, oh, this is Mr. So and so. Oh, he's got a great story. Wait till he tells you what he. Oh, this is so and so. Wait till you hear what she has to say about this. It's a great story, and you get to know people. Wow. And then after you completed your residency training, you pursued academia.
I did. I had an amazing opportunity. I went to Queen's University and did family medicine. And I had the opportunity to work with the University of Toronto in a very unique, challenging position. And so I worked with the University of Toronto in the Sioux Lookout project. And in Northern Ontario, where the road stops is because it's 50% water and 50% land. And there's a community called Sioux Lookout, and it serves Northern Ontario, which is the same geographic area as France. And so the University of Toronto had an outreach program there where the faculty ran the hospital, and it was a teaching and training program for sick kids, pediatric residents, medical students, and family medicine residents, and then others who did rotations there as well from the University of Toronto. And so we provided services at that hospital, including the emergency room, the inpatient service, all the deliveries, with one general surgeon and 12 faculty members. And then we service these 28 communities, which were remote fly-in only, wilderness and remote medicine to Indigenous Canadians. And most of my patients, about 50% of my patients, spoke OG Cree, which is Ojibwe Cree. And so it was a really wonderful, culturally enriching experience. I worked with amazing people at the University of Toronto. I had just this rich cultural environment that I worked with Native Canadians and Aboriginal First Peoples of Canada. And I also had this really incredible adventure going up north in float planes and with skis in the winter and on the water in the summertime, going to very remote and isolated communities. And also, we did the life flights as well. So we did a lot of rescue missions for people that were severely injured up north to be able to air fly them out as well. So it was an amazing time. And I was there for 3 years and really had an experience that was more like 6 years of experience. I remember the first day I was on call as a faculty member, and we used to do 1 in 4 call. And these are the old days where you did 36 hours at a time. And my very first night on call as a faculty member, straight out of residency program, I'm doing 1 in 4 calls. So there's 7.5 call nights a month. You're taking care of all of the community contacts for these 28 communities, all the calls from these nursing centers, taking care of the emergency department, taking care of all of the admissions coming through the hospital, and then all of the OB deliveries that are happening. I had 10 admissions, I had 5 deliveries, plus all the patients through the emergency department and all the phone calls and triaging for the life flights and anything else that needed to happen. And I was so tired at the end of that session. And now I own those 10 patients. And now I own those 5 OB patients that I delivered and their beautiful babies as well. So it was a very, very difficult, challenging practice to be in. It was great collaboration and cooperation and communication. It was an enriching cultural experience. And it was absolutely a breathtakingly beautiful experience to spend time in Northern Canada and in wilderness and remote areas and provide services to people that needed great care. And it was just certainly an honor and a privilege.
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's just so much that you just said there, Dr. Dan. The experience of being connected with all these communities, and then that time too, the 1 in 4 call, 36-hour shifts, and handling all of that. I mean, it's just an unbelievable, probably with sometimes even limited resources, I would imagine.
Absolutely. The only thing we had a GP anesthetist in our hospital. So one of our family docs who was trained, did another year of training for anesthesiology. And we had a general surgeon who was absolutely amazing. And he had been working in Nepal for the 2 years prior to coming and joining us in a city of 500,000 people. So he basically worked 18 to 20-hour days. And he could do everything. He did our C-sections. He could do hands. He could do everything. He was absolutely amazing. And so we ran healthcare for Northern Ontario.